As you may recall, one of the big stories this year has been the MMA and UFC debut of one CM Punk. It finally came to fruition on September 10th in Cleveland, Ohio at UFC 203. Since then, we haven't heard much from Mr. Punk. Yeah, we've seen him do some Chicago Cubs broadcasts here, some tweets there, but nothing really talking about, where he stands in the sport, what's next for him, etc. So I wanted to have him on the show, and he is kind enough to join us on this Monday afternoon. Mr. Punk, are you there?
I am Mr. Helwani. How are you?
It is a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, no problem. I got to apologize if I sound weird.
Yes.
It's because I'm sick. So
what's wrong?
It's just a cold. It's 73 degrees one day, and then the next day it's 30 degrees. So that always kicks me right in the ass.
Perhaps it was all that celebrating outside, the Cubs, taking off your shirt, running around. Any of that come into play?
No. I was there for Game 7, 6 and 7. I was in Cleveland, so I was. I remained fully clothed, leaving the confines.
Any truth to the maybe assumption that because it happened in Cleveland, and you've talked to me about Cleveland being not so kind to you, that it felt extra sweeter to beat them in Cleveland?
I put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself in that whole situation because I was like, blame myself if the Cubs lost. But no, it was just a pretty awesome come from behind victory. I wouldn't have had it any other way, and I wouldn't have expected it to go anyway. Any other way. Is that in a nutshell was an entire Cubs season in 7 games.
Yes, and you did call it. In fact, it is pinned on your Twitter profile, so people can check that out. But honest question, have you noticed a difference in the way people are in Chicago after the win? Are people in a better mood? Are they still riding that high?
I don't. I by no means do I want to get political on your show, but everybody was very happy until the election.
Okay.
And then everybody got very sad again.
Okay. I can understand that. Kind of the same case.
Yeah,
here
Chicago's a very democratic place. So,
sure.
Everyone's, it's kind of overshadowed it, but, the Cubs won the World Series, man. It's cool to be able to just say that.
Yes. And you did have 1 week at least of celebrating. So thank God it was a week before the election. Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty because you have remained relatively quiet after the fight at 203. Is there a specific reason for that? Did you just want a break? Did you want some time off?
Yeah, but also, when you get beat up, you don't really have a lot of room to talk, do you? So,
sure.
What am I going to say? I more often than not don't really have a lot to say anyway recently. So, yeah, I think it was just I've been doing a lot of eating and a lot of hanging out with my wife and my dog, and catching up with friends and stuff. I'm sure most people listening to this know, when you dedicate yourself to a fight camp, everything stops. I got to thank my wife again, for cooking meals and putting up with odd hours of training and sleeping and, walking Larry in the morning and at night and all kinds of fun stuff.
Okay, so after the fight, like in the media room, when you met the press conference, you put on a brave face, but you were clearly bummed. I mean, the idea that, oh, good for you, you did the fight. I mean, it felt, at least to me, like it meant nothing to you, and you were very emotional after the fight. What was it like when you got back to the hotel? The next morning, you wake up, the fight is over, it finally happened, it didn't go as planned. The days after the fight, how did you digest it all?
I just got back on my horse and worked, I drove home, I think, Sunday, and, I was back training Monday, I stayed in Chicago, but I was training, I felt like I was in the best shape of my life still. So I just kept after it, I think that's the best thing to do. And after you lose, it didn't go my way, but, the strides were made over the last, year, just learning and all the knowledge I've gained. And, I was in such good shape. I didn't really want to kind of lose that.
Have you watched the fight again?
No.
Not once.
No,
Do you think you ever will?
I was there, man.
No interest.
No, I know what I did wrong.
How many times do you think about it? Like, do you think, is it impossible to get, like, just replaying the sequences, the beginning of the fight, middle of the fight, the finish? Do you think about this a lot?
Yeah, I do. It doesn't haunt me. It doesn't plague me or anything like that. But it's just like any day in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, I just got home from the gym, so I'm playing back like things I did well and things I did wrong. You know, I think that's just if you're a competitive person and you're an athlete, I think you constantly do that without beating yourself up. Like I said, it doesn't haunt me, but I zigged and he zagged and I got taken down, and it's just like I defended to the best of my ability. But I mean, Mickey Gall's good.
Was he better than you thought he would be?
I mean, it's hard to answer that because I didn't think he was the shit by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean? Like, I think he was prepared, and I think I was prepared, and it is what it is. There's a winner and there's a loser. I was a loser that night.
So some have, I guess, openly questioned the attack to come out that aggressive, right? From the get-go. Was that the game plan, to come at him that aggressively right from the beginning of the fight?
Yeah, for sure. Because things we saw Mickey do, everybody kind of let him in. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of you come out and you meet in the corner, you slap hands like and then okay, let's fight now. And I just think that was something that we didn't want to do. We didn't want him to get comfortable because of the experience level. I figured I would try to make him uncomfortable right off the get-go. Start him off on the wrong foot.
And so then it plays out the way it does. You have the little, I guess, talk with him, which I thought was received very well, and he seemed to receive it well. Afterwards, he calls out Sage Northcutt. He's now fighting Sage Northcutt. I know you've never fought Sage Northcutt, but you have fought Mickey Gall. Do you think he wins that fight?
Hard to say. I unfortunately missed Sage when he was up here training. I think Woodley had him.
Yeah.
For his karate background and stuff like that, and I was eating pancakes in Chicago, so I missed out on that. I think that's a pretty even fight. What are the odds saying?
You know what? That's a great question. Maybe New Yorker can help us with that. I do not know what the odds are for that fight, but I will pull them up.
I'm not sure, but I mean, off the top of my head, I know the one time Sage has lost has been to. A ground submission. I think he got arm triangled, and obviously Mickey's a beast on the ground, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah,
and also it's at 170. He lost that fight. There are no odds according to the site that I'm going to right now, bestfightodds.com, but maybe someone else has them. You said that
Sage is normally a lightweight, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah, and they're fighting at 170 this time.
Oh, well, good for him. He doesn't got to cut weight.
So you said you just came back from the gym. You're still working out. Are we talking about Rufus Sport, or are you going to a gym more local, closer to home in Chicago?
Oh no, I'm in Milwaukee right now. Yeah, Rufus Sport.
Oh wow. So have you just been going there since the fight, or did you take a break?
I took a break from Milwaukee. Because the plan was to always go to Cubs games in October, so
okay.
I kind of took October off from Milwaukee, but I'm back.
Wow! So do you just live in Milwaukee now?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not. I mean, I got a place in the Hamptons. I got a place in Chicago. We're looking to move to Australia now that the election has gone the way it's gone.
We welcome you in Canada, by the way.
Oh, do you?
Yes, we do, with open arms.
Are you a diplomat? Is that official? Can I just kind of shimmy over the border?
They've sort of sent me here to clean up the mess that is the United States. The good people.
But you live in like New Jersey, so I don't know what.
Well, I'm sort of been sent here to work on behalf of the great country of Canada, but that's a different story for a different day. So everyone wants to know what is next. Dana White has been asked about you multiple times, and no real definitive answer. So here's the first question: do you plan on fighting again?
Yes.
Will that fight be in the UFC?
I mean, to me, yeah, but that's up to Dana. And I had a good conversation with him. I told him, hey, if you want to cut me, yeah, I get it, but I'm fighting whether it's for you or somebody else. Now I don't got an agent. I don't got a manager. I'm like Bill Murray, just with a lot less money and not as funny or as famous,
Right.
but I told him I want to fight again. We're back at it. We're back to the drawing board. So it's up to him, and he floated me an idea, and we're kind of going back and forth on it right now. So, I'm at the point where I kind of want to get something on paper. So, you might hear an announcement in the coming weeks. I really don't know though. There's no timetable though.
So when you told him that you want to fight, you're not stopping, even if he cuts you, you're still fighting. Was he receptive to the idea of having you back?
I don't want to speak for him, but it didn't. I think if he wanted to kill it, he would have killed it right then.
Sure.
But you never know the way things are going. I mean, Dana's a friend of mine, so it's always a weird thing because I grew up in wrestling, taught not to trust promoters. You know what I mean? So there's always that little thing. And until anything's official, I don't want to say either way what he's thinking or what he's saying or anything. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that it'll be in the UFC.
Are you able to share what the idea is that you guys are working on?
No, we're still talking about that. That was, it's a private conversation. It was a good one though.
I had to ask, that.
Oh, of course.
When do you think?
I expect nothing less.
When do you think you'll fight again?
If it was up to me, I'm trying to think in terms of food schedule. Let's see. I can just pig out on Thanksgiving and then skip Christmas. So, maybe January or February. It all depends on who it is, where it is.
So that soon? You want to get right back in there?
I do. I really do.
Okay. Do you feel like you have that itch? Like you're starting to really crave having a mission, having a target, having a fight, having the date. Are you sensing that?
Yeah, for sure. I think I just train a lot different when, I could tell the stark difference between when I was just kind of like floating around going to the gym and learning, and then when I had a date and an opponent, there was just a different focus and different intensity. I think I need to get that back. For the first time, everything else was great. Everything was dialed in. Weight cut was, I think, maybe easier than it should have been. I think I'm going to try to do things a little bit different this time, to maybe come in a little bit heavier and cut maybe a little bit more weight, because I didn't really have a problem with that. But yeah, everything was good except for that one goddamn takedown.
Any chance you fight at 185?
The original idea was always, because I've trained with like Luke Rockhold and stuff like that, and he's just such a big dude, and I'd be like, man, he fights at 185, like I just can't imagine, So to me, it was 170, so I could be in the best possible shape, and but I wouldn't say no. But I mean, if I put a percentage on it, maybe 80-20. I mean, it depends. It really depends on who the opponent is.
80-20 in favor of 170, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
And so I'm wondering, obviously you were emotional after the fight because of the journey and everything, and you were talking about your wife, and I thought it was a great scene, but were you emotional maybe because you thought that was it for you in the UFC? In other words, on fight night, after the fight, did you think that the dream was going to come to an end right then and there? And are you at all surprised that you're maybe going to get a second chance?
Now, well, for anybody listening to me talk about this for the first time, the destination was always fighting.
Right.
Like I say it now, like second fight, whether it happens in the UFC, it's going to happen regardless. First fight was going to happen regardless. UFC just made me a business offer. You know what I mean? So I wasn't emotional because I thought a journey was over. I was was just bummed I lost, and I lost pretty spectacularly. You know, like, I mean, you gotta kind of be honest with yourself. You know, like and, you know, I'm not to compare myself with greats like, you know, Carlos Condit or Robbie Lawler or anybody like that, but, you know, this shit happens, and it's just like you can beat yourself up for weeks and months, but it's like that's the fight game. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes you slip on a banana peel, and sometimes you know, the other guy gets off first, and that one punch is all he needs. And you know, sometimes you grapple with somebody who's way better than you. You know, it's just like great, way better fighters than me have lost in a shorter amount of time. You know what I mean? So like, you kind of got to put it in perspective. I was just bummed that I lost.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want to let my team down. I still feel like I owe it to them to get a W, and that's the goal. You're
going to remain with the team, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. And are you, like, the idea, if it doesn't pan out with the UFC, the idea of even going like a local show, not televised, you're still doing this? We're like, just to put this definitively, that second fight is coming whether anyone likes it or not.
Yes, I'm not. You know, like I told Dana straight up, because you know, when you're friends with somebody, you can
Sure.
talk to them. And I was like, look, I'm not saying this because I don't want you to, you know, not cut me for fear that I'm going to go to your competitor. Like, that's not what I'm not trying to leverage you or anything like that. Like, this is what I do now. This is what I'm going to do now. If I can do it for you, awesome. You know, if not, you know, I'll still bug you for tickets to your show.
How's your body feeling? Like, how did you recover? Are you feeling okay now?
Yeah, I feel great. You know, same old. You know, like I got some bumps and some bruises, but you know, considering I had back surgery in February, like that's still like an evolving thing, and then my back gets better every day. You know. And
how's the ear?
Oh, totally fine.
Okay, you don't. That's not something.
I mean, for as gruesome as that looked, like I was fine the next day.
Was there any part of you, because this was your first fight on such a big stage with so many people watching, was there any part of you that had to deal with, I don't want to call it the embarrassment, but just like you lost and it wasn't the way you want? Did you, like, was it humbling for you? How would you describe having to deal with that? Because that's an emotion I feel like you never really had to deal with before.
You know, I wasn't, I mean, embarrassed, really, so to speak, you know, more disappointed. And that, I think the most tremendous thing about this entire, you know, if you want to call it a silly thing about me fighting, was I was either going to win or lose on the biggest stage. You know what I mean? So there really wasn't there's no amateur career. There's no let's fight on smaller cards and, like, you know, let's get the losses out of the way. It was just like I was just all in. You know what I mean? I just pushed all my chips in the middle of the table and said, well, let's do it. You know, if I win, boom, there's all the glory. And if I lost, yeah, there's something I got to deal with.
Just wondering, do you have a preference as to who you fight next? Is there someone on your mind?
No, I haven't really even thought about it so much. You know, it was just. The process is about me and just getting me, you know, better, and, you know, getting the loss, I guess, out of my system, and, you know, eating waffles and crepes and beignets and donuts, and I can go on and on if you want me to.
How much do you weigh now?
About 190, 195, depending on breakfast.
That's not too bad. Okay, so last thing for you. Do you feel like the experience of actually being in the cage, you know, this is a real fight, your first pro fight, has it made you a better athlete in the gym? Do you feel different when you're at the gym as opposed to when you were preparing for the fight?
Yes, absolutely, for sure. You know, I think I can take what happened to me and realize that, you know, there was a point where I probably could have calmed down a little bit. I was probably a little bit of a spaz, you know, and you know, it's like you almost kind of want to reset, and you almost give up. That takedown. You're just like, shit, okay. Instead of worrying about what's in front of you and doing what the necessary steps of what you need to do to get back to your feet, like you almost kind of shut down there for a second. Who do you think I should fight? How about that? What, you got any names? I'm asking everybody.
At 170?
Yeah.
Man, putting me on the spot here.
Well, you put me on the spot here.
Yeah, I know, but
it's only fair.
I feel like you were prepared for that question. I wasn't prepared. How about George St. Pierre?
Okay, let's do it. Canada.
He's looking for a fight.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right.
He wants one. No, that is tough. Well, it's hard to find someone, who's, you got to fight at your level, right? And now you're 0-1. So we got to find someone who's in that vicinity. Doesn't have to have the exact same record, but, with 3 or so pro fights, I wonder if it's once again someone not in the UFC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who knows?
Fascinating. Well, this is exciting. This is exciting stuff. I had no idea.
What did you think I was going to say?
I don't know. You're a man in many interests. You can go in many different directions. I think this is exciting stuff. So I'm happy to hear. I wish you the best. And when you do have that news to break, you're always welcome to come back on this show and break it.
Oh, well,
you knew that already.
I don't have. Yeah. We'll come back and we'll talk.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Again, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving to you and your wife, and Larry, of course, the real star of the family. And enjoy it, and don't eat too much. And good luck in training. And we look forward to your second pro fight now.
Thanks, Ariel. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, there he is, CM Punk, breaking some news here as well. A lot of big news coming out of today's show, as expected. Says that he will fight again. Says that it's looking like it will be in the UFC. That he's confident, I believe, was the word that he used. And now here we are. Where's that fight going to be? When's it going to be? And more importantly, probably most importantly, against who? And which promotion? It does seem, we'll hear from the UFC, Dana White has been non-committal as far as his future is concerned, but has never shut that door. And that is very notable as well.